ladies and gentlemen, I am Vitold and I have ridden pretty much every mid-size adventure bike out there on the market right now. Same as with the large adventure motorcycles. And today we've got two examples that approach the adventure world very differently. On one side, the British gentleman in a touring jacket, sipping a tea with a pinky finger extended, the Triumph Tiger 900 GT Pro. On the other side, the Austrian maniac that looks at speed limits as suggestions, the KTM 890 Adventure with no R in its name. And this comparison is divided into segments, so if you only care about comfort, brakes, or which one tries to cook your thighs medium rare in traffic, you will have it all cleared out in this video. In the end, I'll tell you which one I would actually spend my money on. And well, one of these bikes disappointed me way more than one could expect. Let's start with the engine and performance. The biggest difference between these motorcycles appears literally the second you open the throttle. The Triumph is smooth, perhaps even too smooth in some ways. That 888 cubic centimeter 3-cylinder engine makes good power on paper, so 108 horsepower and 90 newton-meters of torque, which sounds respectable, but when you ride it, it feels like the engine went to therapy and eliminated every dangerous thought from its personality. Low RPM, weak, mid-range, more delicate than it should be, I think. It accelerates fine, but there is no excitement, no aggression, no, oh yes, here we go moment on this bike to me. It's the motorcycle equivalent of a fried chicken fillet. And there's that clutch lever. Who designed that thing? A baby with tiny fingers? It's a Triumph thing again. All finger operation feels awkward and imprecise because of that. Then you jump on the KTM and suddenly life makes sense again. The 889 cubic centimeter parallel twin engine absolutely punches you out of the corners. It feels more powerful than the number of 105 horsepower and 100 newton meters of torque suggest, because the torque delivery is immediate and everything is very much alive here. The engine wants to play, it wants rapid and crazy decisions, and they do not scare it at all. The traction control is excellent because it intervenes without murdering the fun, unlike the Triumph, which sometimes cuts power like an angry school teacher. The KTM engine is easily one of the best in the category, but, and this is a huge but, this thing gets hot. I mean in the temperature, meaning hot. Now this, in the city traffic during summer, you are now slow cooking your internal organs. The KTM wins this segment comfortably, but it comes with the side effect of your skin sterilization. Now what about handling? The Triumph behaves exactly how it looks. Calm, stable, predictable. It is confidence inspiring at lower speeds, quite secure at higher speeds, and it corners competently. But exciting? Not really. Changing direction takes a bit of effort, and every time you try to ride aggressively overall, the bike reminds you it would rather discuss retirement plans for you. Well, it's above average in terms of handling, but that's it. The KTM feels more eager, especially at higher speeds where it is definitely alive. You push on the bars and the bike responds willingly instead of filing paperwork first. Mid-corner response to acceleration or braking is excellent, the chassis stays composed, and despite the large 21-inch front rim, it doesn't feel lazy. At low speeds it's also manageable. This is where KTM understands something Triumph struggles a little bit with. Adventure bikes don't need to feel boring to feel stable. The KTM is simply more enjoyable to throw around, and it wins in the handling category. Now in the third segment, when talking about suspension, here's where the Triumph punches back hard. Its suspension setup is excellent. It is comfortable, it is composed, it is plush without being disconnected. Any broken roads out there? Bad asphalt that looks like it survived artillery fire? The Tiger just absorbs it all calmly. And it's despite the bike having only 18 centimeters of the front suspension travel and 17 centimeters of the rear one. The electronically adjustable rear suspension preload is great for everyday use, touring, adding luggage, adding passengers, a quick mountain road, all of that it handles with no complaint. Yes, the front end dives too much under braking, but overall the suspension comfort is one of the best things about this bike. Very enjoyable. The KTM's setup feels more basic in comparison. Likely you did not expect that word to be used. It is stiffer by default and somehow it manages to dive at the front still. despite not being especially plush. There are 20 centimeters of suspension travel, so more than in the Tiger. You get manual adjustment, but the overall experience is average in comparison. It is not super comfy, but it's also not terribly stiff either. I much more prefer the Triumph, which wins in this segment. Let's move to number 4 and seat and position comfort. This is interesting because both bikes are pretty comfortable in terms of sitting, but in different ways. The Triumph seat is wide, it is supportive and good, especially for long distances. It is adjustable and at 82 or 84 centimeters from the ground, which is fine for my 183 centimeters of height or 6 feet tall. Lower body ergonomics are great, knee angle is relaxed, and overall it feels nice. But then Triumph screws up with handlebars that are way too low. On an adventure bike, I want control, not the feeling that I'm, apologizing to the fuel tank. Bar rises, in this case, are mandatory for me. The KTM seat initially feels hard, but after longer rides, you realize it distributes the weight pretty well. It's actually surprisingly comfortable after a moment. Handlebar width is spot on for me, despite being unusually narrow in comparison. But then there is a gear lever positioned weirdly high, which creates some trouble. This constantly would feel a bit awkward. Now, it's amazing how both bikes managed to create one stupid ergonomic issue each, like they were competing at this particular aspect. To me, this one is close. Somehow Triumph is associated with a more comfortable vision in my head, but going aspect by aspect, KTM in the end felt slightly better at it, and it wins for me here. If you would ever want no disadvantages in terms of sitting position, get yourself an office chair like mine from Power Seats at powerseats.eu. Fully electric adjustment, integrated battery, and beautiful Nappa leather with a very specific leather aroma. Unreal stuff. With the bikes, we move to discussing wind protection, where the Triumph's windscreen is one of those things that make me question if manufacturers are actually testing motorcycles with real human beings on them at some point. Yes, it is adjustable manually, the windscreen here, and no, it doesn't work properly in terms of aerodynamics. Turbulence, dirty airflow, debris shooting upward into your helmet, watery eyes, not a fantastic experience. I would replace this screen immediately. The KTM, on the other hand, protects you extremely well. In fact, during warm weather, it protects you too well. Interesting. There is barely any turbulence, airflow is smooth, and fast riding is really super comfortable in this aspect. There is no adjustment, but I would rather have one properly designed position than a few useless ones like on the Triumph. Sorry to say that. KTM wins. Number 6, brakes. Triumph's brakes annoy me because they pretend to be not good for about half a second, as the lever first feels disconnected. Then suddenly the brakes bite aggressively, which further enhances the already noticeable front suspension dive. In reality, it's very hard to control, and it's just uncomfortable, I would say. The rear brakes ABS calibration is awful, it is intrusive, it is nervous, it's constantly interfering. It feels like the bike doesn't trust you to use your own rear brake, and in the end it's just not effective. To be fixed by Triumph in the future, hopefully. The brakes on the KTM are simply better. They are strong, predictable, effective. The rear brake lever position isn't ideal, but at least the system itself behaves properly. This isn't even close for me. KTM wins again. Drivetrain. Both bikes use chain drive setups, which is fine and a standard in this category. No drama here. Just clean them, lubricate them, ignore them until 11 p.m. the night before a trip. Then panic clean them. Sure, nice, loving it. So it's a tie here. And now fuel tank capacity. Both motorcycles get 20-liter tanks, and it's a fine number. Big enough for touring, small enough that the bikes don't feel like oil tankers. No winner here, it's a tie. Let's talk about the weight. The Triumph sits around 222 kilograms wet, the KTM around 215 kilograms wet, but numbers don't tell the whole story, as usually. Okay, as sometimes, in terms of motorcycles, usually. The Triumph carries its weight rather predictably, it's balanced and it is manageable. The KTM somehow feels lighter than it is, even though it's still lighter than the Triumph on paper. Especially once moving, it feels that way. Perhaps the purposely designed weird fuel tank with some of its areas low next to your legs, maybe that does the job. Both bikes are good here and very close, but I like where the weight is placed in the KTM, and it wins just by a hair here. If you'd like to know more details about these bikes, check their full reviews that I've done and I've linked in the description of the video. Now it's time for the tech category. The Triumph comes pretty loaded. There are different trims that can get you heated seats, heated grips, cruise control, riding modes, tire pressure monitoring system, cornering ABS, LED front light, backlit switches. It's basically trying to seduce you with features. But then you start using the display and realize that the software is laggy, like the bike is running bloody Windows Vista in its head. Some settings are buried deep in menus, which is not helpful as it makes you interact with the computer even more. You don't want to do that very much because it's not cool. And the Triumph somehow still hasn't figured out a keyless functionality for the Tiger 900 family. KTM's display is excellent visually. It's genuinely one of the best in the class. But KTM also perfected the art of charging you extra for things that should already be included. Cruise control, pay extra. Quick shifter, pay extra. Heated stuff, also extra. Buy enough options, eventually you financially recreated the spending on 5 kids in 10 years. Still, the interface itself is really cool. In the end, Triumph just has more stuff, especially with that electronic rear suspension adjustment. I'm a fan of that, definitely. Tiger for the win here. Now, one of my generally favorite parts, so sound as the 11th category. Here, the Triumph's engine sounds so polite, it could probably introduce itself to the Queen of England. Very nice, smooth, quiet, and completely forgettable. It lacks character, in my opinion, but there may not be much you could do about it with this type of engine. The KTM has one cylinder less, too, but it sounds more alive. It is not obnoxious, not ridiculous, but it's properly mechanical and engaging. It matches, I think, the motorcycle's personality. This motorcycle should sound like it's at least considering some criminal activity. It's not there yet, but with some aftermarket exhaust, it may get closer, hopefully. But already sounds much better than the Triumph. So, well, yeah, KTM wins here. Moving to the category of design, I don't think either of these motorcycles is beautiful. Let's have that behind us. The Triumph still has that weird angry duck face design after the recent update. Nothing about it makes me turn around in the parking lot for that one last look. But the KTM isn't exactly helping itself either. To me, it looks like a little kid and a bit awkward. At the same time, the proportions don't feel muscular or premium to me. It has this toy-like appearance from some angles that just doesn't say a serious adventure machine. This time, this category is like choosing between ugly shoes and ugly pants. Low scores for both, but Triumph Tiger 900 GT Pro still looks more attractive visually to me. So it wins here. I wonder what you guys are thinking. Price and value for money now. No good news here. Both of these motorcycles are very expensive in my opinion. In my country, the Tiger 900 GT Pro, the Pro matters here. It is a tiny bit more expensive than the KTM 890 Adventure. It's like 3 to 5%. However, it comes with more options included because they are already there in the Pro word associated with it. It's not a super easy call for me to make deciding which one I feel presents a better value for money, but considering the fun factor and how many things these do really well or just better than the other one, I am saying that likely KTM presents a better value for money for me. And it wins here. Very subjective as well, as usually. And the last category, so the X factor. Well, you probably already know what I'm going to say, and I won't surprise you and just say it. To me, everything about the KTM is more exciting, including its reliability. From the engine performance to handling to the brand and sound, I consider the Tiger to be proper, but sometimes proper and very much in line, maybe considered just boring. It's this case here. My winner in the X Factor category is the KTM. And so, here we have it. To sum up, Triumph Tiger 900 GT wins in suspension, tech and design. KTM demolishes the Triumph in engine performance, handling, seat and position comfort, wind protection, brakes, weight, sound, price and value for money, and the X factor. Remember that these are my very own and still subjective, very subjective experiences and impressions. I stay unbiased as I do not own any of these. I'm not being sponsored by any manufacturer and I do not ride any competitor of these bikes, but I've ridden them all, so I do know what can be expected from the bikes within this segment. So which one would I choose? The KTM, easily, because I actually feel some excitement riding it. And this is what motorcycling is about for me. Yes, it cooks your legs. Yes, some details are annoying, but motorcycles should create emotion, and the KTM absolutely does that. The Triumph is competent everywhere, but exciting pretty much nowhere, in my opinion. The KTM, meanwhile, it feels alive every single time you twist the throttle. And for me, that matters more than perfect manners. But how is it for you guys? Let me know in the comments. Now, if you would like to know much more in detail about each of these two, check my individual honest reviews of them that are linked in the description of the video, along with reviews of all their competitors on my channel as well. See you there. Bye.